G'day folks and welcome to this unboxing of Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory. This is a design by Varnavas, Timotheou and Vangelis, Bagiartakis. It is a Kickstarter design, just arrived in the mail today, comes with the historical events expansion as well. I was an early backer of this. First couple of hours I was very keen to see this develop and backed. As many of you will be aware, I am a scholar of military labour. These are two of my books. Anzac Labour was my first book, focusing upon work and workplace cultures in the environment of the military. And as part of that, the issue of work, of class, of industrial relations and industrial actions is and has long been forefront of my historical interest. So when I saw this game about class struggle and class warfare, I was very keen. When I saw the design develop this idea of four different factions, the working class, the middle class, the capitalist class, and the state, asynchronous, card-driven, a lot of different interacting elements, I was very, very intrigued. So I backed it, and as I said, just arrived today. This is a hefty box. It is very heavy and thick, as you can see. The box back highlights the sort of a game layout, includes the crisis and control expansion with automas for all three classes, allowing solo play, additional action cards, 3 mini expansions, crisis response, hidden agendas, alternative events, plus the historical events, which I'll look at in just a moment. Okay, let's crack this open and have a look at what's inside. You can see this is quite a complex Eurogame design, recommended for ages 14 and above, for 1 to 4 players. You can play with those automas if you wish, and estimated running time is 1.5 to 3 hours. It includes a game board, 4 dual layer player boards, 570 cards, 248 cardboard tokens, 121 printed wooden components, wooden cubes, transparent cubes, storage tiles, cloth bag, player aids, rule aids, and 2 rule books. Okay, the art is by Jakub Skop as well. Okay, published by the Hegemony Project Limited in Nicosia, Cyprus. So good to see a game from Cyprus as well. Let's crack this open. Beautiful box cover as well. This is, been previewed on Kickstarter for some time. Okay. We have, so this is, as I haven't mentioned yet, this is designed with a team of scholars as well, Dr. Russell Foster, Dr. Powell Arjun, Varnavas, Alexander Gertz, and Andreas Dunis. And there are essays in here on various aspects of political economy. So an introduction from Varnavas, political science, detailing, and again, I've had a preview of this online, details theory, but political theories, political economic theories, socialism, various political parties, interest groups, hegemony. So I won't go into the background of hegemony, but Antonio Gramsci was an Italian scholar who was jailed under Mussolini for his left-leaning thinking and wrote much about, did they mention Gramsci? As a result, Gramsci thought that changing society was impossible, blah, blah, blah. What else do we have here? Economics, supply and demand, etc., etc. So basically the theory behind some of the elements in this game. I have read that this game doesn't push a certain political view. I understand it to be balanced in its sort of scholarly treatment of these ideas. Of course, somebody will always disagree when we're dealing with concepts, political concepts. Nothing is ever truly balanced. So I won't get into that. The rulebook. So there's the crisis and control rulebook. Here is the core game rulebook. The nation is in disarray, blah, blah, blah. You play one of 4 classes. It is truly asynchronous. There are quite different factions and they're all striving for victory by doing different things. Component overview. It is a card-driven game with each faction having a different deck of cards. So you can see 40 working class action cards, middle class, capitalist, state, companies. So you can see that there are the capitalist class in particular trying to buy and sell these companies. The middle class has some option, whereas the working class have sort of completely different priorities. Small cards, cloth bags, lots of cardboard tokens, wooden components, and symbols used in the game. There are different types of workers. There are unskilled, skilled, and any skilled, apparently. What else? Population, working, middle class, different types of companies. Component anatomy summarizing the different elements you'll see on gameplay. So beautifully illustrated as well. This is glossy. Font type is pretty average, standard, easy to see. Illustrations throughout already, you can see that. Game board outline, player board outline, game setup, well illustrated. I'm up to page 10 now. Player setups, and then finally we get to the how to play. So quite detailed, well illustrated throughout. There's 5 rounds in the game, and each round consists of preparation, action, production, elections, and scoring. So what's the core of this? Action phase is where you do your actions, productions where you produce things, elections is where you vote on issues by drawing, what do? You draw cubes out of a bag and they place an election. Then you can spend your influence. Where's the influence stage? You can spend influence to enhance the result or change the result based on how you voted, and this can change, the result of these elections can change the game state, and then scoring based on what class you are. So asynchronous, there are different rules for the working class, and they have special actions that they do. So they do things like get new workers, adjust population, propose bills, assign workers, buy goods and services, strike, demonstrate, and then they can do free actions as well. The capitalists are looking to build companies, sell to the foreign market, make business deals. The middle class is somewhere between them. They are trying to get new workers, adjust population, actions, propose bill, assign workers, build companies, sell to the foreign market. So they get a bit of both of those working class / capitalist actions. And then the government, the state, is trying to, in a way, balance things and keep everyone happy in a sense, in a gameplay sense, because they get points based on, they have legitimacy with the 3 other factions, the working class, the middle class, the capitalists, and they get victory points, I think, and certain benefits based on who has the lowest legitimacy with them. So they're trying to gain legitimacy with all of the other 3 factions by kind of keeping them happy to an extent. They want to be recognized as legitimate by all the other 3 factions. Their actions include proposing bills, event actions, sell to the foreign market, meet with party MPs, extra tax, campaign. Yeah, I don't know too many details about that. And then we have politics, and this is where, so the politics table determines sort of the state of the game, how many loans certain factions can take, minimum wages, how much tax you pay, and things like that. And this can change over the course of the game based on elections and so forth. And obviously you want to change the politics of the game to suit your interests. So the capitalists want a low minimum wage, the working class want a high minimum wage, things like that. So they'll be looking to change the labour market, fiscal policy, taxation, all those kind of things. So things to the left, generally left-leaning, help the working class. Things to the right generally help the capitalist class. And I think the middle class and the state may kind of vary somewhat. So foreign trade, so foreign trade, immigration, other rules. There are things like loan, IMF intervention, and component limitations. There's a summary of rules, questions, card-related questions in the back. More card-related questions. It is a 36-page rulebook, but as I said, I think the hardest part in teaching this game, asynchronous, the first game that comes to mind is Root, and if you're teaching somebody how to play the working class, there's just 4 pages of rules that they need to read, and they can focus on their interests, what they need to do to win. There are some good instructional videos on this online. I recommend checking those out because you can learn the game fairly quickly. I say, having not played it yet, but having a decent grasp of how it plays just from watching those videos. There's a player aid sheet summarising your basic actions, your free actions, so you can do a basic action, and here it says, on your turn, take a main action by playing a card from your hand, either perform the card's effect or discard the card to perform a basic action. You may also perform a single free action without having to discard a card either before or after your main action. So fans of Vital Lacerda will be familiar with this kind of system. Free action and a basic action. And then a summary of their scoring. So each of these is different: middle class, capitalist, the state, and then there's a general aid card. And on the reverse of these are the different ways that these factions score. So the working class scores by passing bills. Everyone gets this 3 victory points if you propose a bill, 1 victory point if you voted for that bill. Prosperity, whenever you gain prosperity, gain victory points. Scoring phase, 2 victory points for each of your trade unions, so that's specific to the working class, and then game end for money that you have. The middle class, passing bills, prosperity again, but whenever you sell to the foreign market, gain a victory point for each transaction. Scoring phase, if your prosperity is lower than the number of your fully operational companies, gain a prosperity. And then game end based on your remaining resources, so specific different game end scoring. Different taxation as well for the different, they'll all be somewhat linked, but slightly different ways of implementing this. The state scores points whenever they pass a bill. Whenever another player receives benefits from the board, gain a victory point. Whenever somebody buys one of those from you at a lower price, you gain a victory point, they get for free, and so forth. Scoring, gain victory points equal to the sum of your 2 lowest legitimacy scores. So you want everyone to be high, you don't want one to be lagging behind too low. You want everyone to be you want sort of equal legitimacy across the 3 other factions. And then money for government currency in the state treasury, and gain victory points based on remaining resources. The capitalists, passing bills. During the scoring phase, move your revenue to your capital and then gain victory based on your capital according to the wealth table on your player board. If the wealth marker moved forward, gain 3 victory points for each space it moves. So they really focus on wealth accumulation. Gain victory points based on your remaining resources at game end and how many neoliberal policies there are. Also gain victory points. So they really focused on, the working class are focused on socialist policies. Neoliberals are focused on, the capitalists are focused on neoliberal policies on that policies board that I spoke about earlier. And then a general player aid board, preparation, action, production, elections and scoring, taxation overview, and IMF intervention, which I don't know too much about. This is, I think, when the government has to take loans or something like that. Okay, we have even larger player aid cards, and these aren't paper. These aren't paper either. These are like a plastic design. So it's sturdy and I would suspect waterproof. I'm not going to test it, but it's a nice plastic, rugged, sturdy design. Same with these. These are not paper. These are nice, and they're not thin. They're like a textured, almost a cloth plastic feel. So quite a high production quality. Very detailed summary of the capitalist class. That's basically the 4 pages of the rule book condensed into 2 pages. So you'll have that as well. The state player aid, the working class player aid, and the middle class player aid. We then have, and let me get the rulebook out so I can look through these tokens as we get to them. We have this. These are cardboard counters, cardboard tokens, and I don't know what they are. I can't see this in the rulebook. Tokens, not summarized. There we go. These are coin tokens. So this is key for pretty much all the factions. It's victory points, converts into victory points, but also used for buying and selling things. We have more coin tokens. We have, these are welfare tiles. These are vote tokens. Okay, so that looks like a yes vote, a no vote. We have education tokens down here, a demonstration token, a free trade zone token. We have got some strike tokens along here. What else do we have? These are legitimacy tokens. These are storage tiles. These are machinery tokens. Excuse me. We have, and these punch out so nicely. You saw that just sort of, I bumped my finger against it, it punched out. These are sturdy cardstock. We have got here some food tokens, some luxury tokens, and some health tokens. And then we have, if I look at this, I'm only at the top of the box here as I start to put this game board out. So this is a game board. I'm going to make some space so we can sort of lay this out and have a look. Now this won't appeal to everyone. It's kind of a very analytical style of game design. It's not, I think it looks great. I love the black with sort of colours popping out. But it's more, there's a very heavy sort of Eurogame style of design. As I mentioned, ages 14 and up. You're representing a faction or a class in a sort of, what is it? We're looking at a state, I suppose, in a community with all these various interlocking mechanisms and elements interrelated to each other. So, you know, the labour market sets the minimum wage, which the capitalists, you know, set on their various businesses, and they'll try to increase the minimum, decrease, I should say, the minimum wage on their businesses, and the working class will try to increase the minimum wage, and the capitalists are fighting against that, and the middle class and the state are kind of trying to somehow balance, you know, those different ends of the spectrum. Yeah, here's where voting happens. State benefits, events, state treasury, public services. We've got the private sector, the public sector. Workers are down the bottom here. Single-sided board. And I think this must be a scoring track around the outside. Okay. So we'll try to keep some of that visible as I proceed. So this is where the main policy segment is. You can see left-leaning policies, right-leaning socialism, neoliberalism, nationalism, globalism, which also kind of corresponds to the political views of generally the respective factions. We have, and these are the individual playboards. Let's have a look. These are double layered. These are beautifully thick. I was talking to a friend last year how much I love dual layered boards. Cubes will sit nicely in there. This is for the capitalist class. This is the state, and this is where they track the legitimacy of the three other factions: food, luxury, influence. The working class, they track their population. They must feed their population based on how many people they have. They track prosperity, and they have trade unions in various, they hope to gain trade unions in the various industries. And the middle class, also tracking their population, must feed their population, prosperity, and they can buy and sell companies, much like the capitalist class can. This is the wages, I believe, they set. Okay, so we have many, oh look at this, wow, there are so many components here. So many, oh wow, so many decks of cards, all separately sealed. I won't open all these because there's just going to be too much to unwrap and too much to get through, but here we have the working class deck. Reveal voting cubes from the bag until you reveal 3 cubes of other classes. Replace them with your voting cubes and return all revealed cubes to the bag. So that's sort of a specific event that you can play during the action phase. Who we have here, this is the middle class. Reveal voting cubes, same idea. They've all got interest groups on the top here, but the state have got radical reforms. They don't vote, instead they have influence. So these 3 factions participate in that voting, but these guys don't. Propose a bill. You may place your marker on any section, even if it's not next to the current one. You may not call for an immediate vote on this bill. Okay. So all these kind of events in the deck. This deck is something different, and I don't know what. It's a different backing. It could be the event cards. Let's have a look through here. Okay, so we have the automa. We have got These could be companies. These are, you may start to, well, these are policies. These must be the, they're the action cards. Let's have a look, keep looking through. Okay, we have got, these are the companies. So supermarket, for example, and the wages you set, what they produce, and I think it must be the type of workers they require. We have here, and these are quite similar. These must be the policies. They're not action cards. They must be, I'm looking across here. Political agendas, export cards. Let's keep looking. These are public companies, so National Public Broadcasting. Okay, so public companies. Other companies. These are the company deck. And these are all the other cards. I guess there's a few different cards in these decks, different coloured. So we're looking here at different export cards, political agendas, and event cards across these decks. A lot of cards here. What did we say? How many? 270 cards across these decks. As I said, it's a card-driven game, driven by these event cards on your action phase. Companies come into play. Policies can be voted on or against. And yeah, businesses, what else? I don't quite understand the political agendas yet, or the export cards, but they're obviously part of that as well. We have these little decks. And these are, no, there are 55 small cards. They represent business deal cards and immigration cards and loan cards. Again, I don't fully understand them yet. There are many, 231 wooden components. Many wooden components all over the place. What do we have here? We have our workers. We have skilled, unskilled, skilled, and various types of, any skilled. Okay, so the skilled workers, unskilled are grey. Skilled workers are associated with particular areas. So we have green for agriculture. I think blue must be for tech. White for health. Orange for education, and purple maybe for media influence. So I guess like media communications. Yep. They look like they correspond as well. We have big workers and small workers. I get they correspond to different pieces. These are middle class workers, they're slightly larger. These are the working class workers. They're kind of slightly different uniforms. So you literally have the collars, the collared workers, white collar workers, blue collar workers in a sense. We have got workers, working class, middle class. We have got various cubes. They are voting cubes in 3 colours. So they go inside, this very nice cloth bag. This is okay, many games come with cloth bags and you can't get that standard cloth texture, which is no problem at all. But these guys have gone kind of above and beyond, and this is really nice. I don't know how to explain the fabric here. It's really rugged, sturdy, high production quality with a nice embossed Hegemony on it. We have got these various policy markers, and I think these are legitimacy markers. No, they're not legitimacy markers. Some of them, yeah, there'll be legitimacy markers, prosperity markers, round markers, and tax multipliers. So there's various little types of markers. Scoring markers in 4 colours, bill markers, so lots of things to mark on the boards and on the map. That's the end of the box. So there's going to be, I love this. I'm so excited about so much going on. I love these kind of games. As I mentioned before, I love Vital Lacerda designs. This is not a Vital Lacerda design, but it seems to be inspired by that type of his approach to games. You get an action, a free action. There's lots of interlocking mechanisms and elements within the game going on, and it's asynchronous. Vital Lacerda games are often synchronous, everyone has the same power. This takes that idea, the Vital Lacerda interlocking mechanisms, and it combines that with card-driven centrality and that asynchronous player power, like in Root and a few other games recently. So yeah, if you're a fan of Root, if you're a fan of any Vital Lacerda design, if you're a fan of Demarca and that type of political style of game, this looks to, which I am, this looks to be of great interest. Just cracking open the historical events deck now. So, a small deck of, this is an expansion for the game that came with Kickstarter. In addition to the, I didn't look at that expansion rulebook, but it's there as well. Small deck. Okay. Dive into the history, 50 cards and a small rulebook. Separate the cards by the period. So this, features historical events such as the Industrial Revolution, the revolutions of 1848, the Chinese Communist Revolution, the Second World War, the Russian Revolution, the intervention of the World Wide Web, the American Revolution, the Maastricht Treaty, things like that, and they change the state of the game in various ways. Each historical event consists of 3 main parts: the requirement, the trigger, and the effect. The trigger determines when the effect is applied. Okay, its requirements must be met. When it's triggered, apply its effect in listed order. Baby boom. So yeah, that looks really cool for adding just another touch of historical flavour to this game. And clear cubes as well. What are the clear cubes used for? They are not wooden components, they're not small cards, they're just transparent markers. I'm trying to think, I can't recall what they were used for. Let me just try to find that crisis and control. So this is the rulebook for several expansions, I believe. So automas, instructions. Okay, so this is the expansion deck. Instruction cards, policy priority cards, action priority cards. These are priority row markers. So these are from the expansion. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, so there's a simple automa, or there's an advanced automa, which is looking quite complex. Working class automa, working class automa, etc. Then you have crisis response, which is a mini expansion that changes the way the IMF intervenes when the state ends up with more loans than its fiscal policy. Fiscal policy, number of loans you can take from the IMF. Then its fiscal policy allows. It consists of 10 crisis response cards, 3 bond cards, and 2 lock cards. Details on how to play that. And then there's a summary. Okay, so alternative events. Where did I see that? That's what that other confusing deck may have been. Alternative events is a mini expansion that changes the way the state interacts with the events that come up every round. It consists of 25 cards and is used in 4-play games only. Cool, cool, cool. Hidden Agendas is a mini expansion that consists of 20 cards, 5 for each roll, that gives players specific tasks to fulfill during a game to achieve additional victory points. And then Crisis and Control includes 20 new action cards, 5 for each new roll. Just shuffle them with the rest of the action cards. So a lot of options there, automas. I'm very excited about this. What can I say? Not only in terms of the theme, but the gameplay in particular. Yeah, heavy Euro that you can sink your teeth into. Yeah, quite a deep and I hope immersive, engaging, rewarding experience. Folks, that is Hegemony. Lead your class to victory. Arrived today from Kickstarter. Check it out if it's of interest, and thanks for watching. Bye all.